the picks. Give me your insights. I want the bets from Betting Weekly, because we win. That is our motto. Sometimes we win, sometimes we don't win. Don't give us the bird, don't give us your stink eye. We try our best and we're successful. Come watch our show. That River sponsor. It's time to start. Enjoy the show.
Welcome in to everyone, Betting Weekly Live, Friday the 4th of October. You with Steve Wyss and Ryan Guertin, otherwise known as RJ to his pals. How's it been going for you recently, RJ?
Good, Steve. It's going pretty well. Great to be back with you. That was a really good little theme song there. I like that. It's the first time I'm hearing that. So it's a catchy little tune.
We've been trying a load of different ones out, and whichever one wins the vote will get in as a regular. So that gets your vote, RJ. Good to hear.
It gets my vote. Yeah, thumbs up there. But yeah, I've been okay, Steve. Been busy. It's been quite a few months for me. I'm looking forward to getting back and talking about some plays for this weekend. Maybe a little football, and personally, I got some news. I got a little one on the way. I just found out recently. So yeah, little girl coming to the RJ household soon. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, mini RJ's going to be crawling around, and I'll say we're going to be talking about Friday soccer card today, NFL later on. I know you've been actually winning a bit on NFL this year, RJ, so I'm looking forward to that. How did you get on in the Champions League and Europa this week, or were you betting on other leagues?
Yeah, so I was on a few Champions League matches this week. I didn't profit. I did take Club Brugge, right, as we would say, money line plus 140, and then I noticed the line had steamed right from plus 140 to around, it closed around minus 140 before kickoff, and I was like, well, that could be a good sign. And then they ended up getting the 1-0 win, so that was good. But Europa yesterday was a good day. I went 3 for 3. Besiktas over, Lazio money line, and then the over in the match between. I can't even remember.
Plenty of goals around. There were so many goals around. I did quite well. I almost prefer Europa in conference. I just think there's a lot of games that you can just pick out the best bets, really. It was a good show yesterday. It's been a good show all week. Welcoming everyone, Rick, Ruffo, J Rod. Plenty of congrats coming in for you here, RJ, on the comments.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
That. Martin says Sturm Graz offered nothing. They were very disappointing this week. Duncan, welcome in. Let's just get into some action then. The earlier game. This is Napoli Como in Serie A today. This is a 12:30 Eastern kickoff time. And do you know what? I've seen a few articles recently about Napoli saying this is maybe a good time to actually bet them in the Serie A title race. Going quite well under Conte. The bet that I quite like here is actually over 2.5 goals, though. Nothing special, nothing too fancy. But Como, I've noticed, have been scoring a lot more recently. And there's been money for the overs today. It's now minus 155. So if you want to be betting at odds are more attractive, you might have to go to a 2.75 or 3 goal line. But I think this is one of these where minus 155 is okay. Either as a single or adding to a parlay piece. Napoli are just starting to get into their rhythm now. And I think Como have got the confidence to actually not take it to them, but I think they can get on the score sheet. I did look at both teams to score nearly evens, but I'd rather have that 3-0 on my side. It's not a significant wager for me on Napoli Como. The other game in Serie A, if we just go back to the graphic here, Hellas Verona against Venezia. This match just I had no interest in this at all. I can't get a read on either team. Such a tricky fixture. I mean, I don't know, Serie A, is that in your wheelhouse this year? I know you pick and choose certain teams, RJ. Napoli, obviously the title winners 2 years ago. Bad year, previous campaign, but they've started to rebound under Conte. Are they on your radar for any like goals bets or, backing on the handicap each week?
Yeah, no, Serie A is definitely in the wheelhouse for contention to review at least every week. It's been a little bit early and it's been a little bit tricky to establish, I think, some consistency in Serie A for me personally. I mean, you look at Napoli; they've allowed one goal also so far during their campaign, but as you stated, Como have scored what six 7 goals in their last 3 matches. They beat Atalanta, who's been hot and cold domestically. So they've had some challenges, but they have found the score sheet. I think it will be challenging for them to find the score sheet in this match, but I could see a 3-0 type win for Napoli. And then the Verona versus Venezia match. I know it is a derby, as I seen St. Martin put in the chat here. That's a match, Steve, that I particularly can't get much of a read on myself. It would appear to be a low scoring match, but this is a matchup between two teams who are desperate. They concede quite a few goals, so this could go the complete opposite, in my opinion. But difficult to read, more of a stay away for me personally.
Has anyone got any thoughts on the St. Pauli versus Mainz match? That is tomorrow, I think, in Bundesliga. I can't say it crossed my my radar because St. Pauli, I'm more of a goals backer. And I know you are mostly as well, RJ. And St. Pauli can't score goals. They don't concede that many though either. So they are an under team, and under teams don't really interest me that much. I mean, some people out there do like to bet on the unders a lot, but St. Pauli do not come onto my shortlist very often. And Mainz are a bit up and down. They are really up and down. But I think Mainz are the better team, and maybe under 2.5 would be something to look at in the St. Pauli game. Newly promoted side, they just look toothless to me. Toothless side. What about BTTS Nova 2.5 in the Como game? Well, that's the $1 million question, J-Rod. Can Como score? That's the question tonight, because if they can score, then you could get quite a bit of value out of this game. Winston Churchill says, good afternoon. Welcome back, RJ. We love our historical figures on this show. Ian Messina, Napoli, Marseille, Parley. That's quite a good one. I quite like that one, actually. Dan Roebuck, both teams to score no. Dan is not a fan of the St. Pauli offense this year. I know that much. That's one I'm not even going to try and pronounce his surname, but under, he says, I don't blame him there at Napoli over 2 goals. Harry Doherty, Sunderland versus Leeds, 3+ offsides at just shy of even money there. We're going to talk about that Leeds game in a minute, but back to this graphic, and there's a La Liga game that does interest me. This is Leganes against Valencia, and I tell you what, I think Leganes are a big price here. The goal line, by the way, is between 1.5 and 1.75. It's sickly low. I mean, for those who love their unders, this is absolutely right in their wheelhouse. I mean, you can get over 2.5 goals at plus 215 in some books. It's crazy. But I think Valencia, if you look at their away form this season, Valencia, it's diabolical, really. Yet to pick up a point on the road, 4 losses out of 4. Yes, they've been to some tough locations, but there's not much in this Valencia team that I trust. And I think Leganes could be worth a go. In fact, I'm actually going to bet them tonight. Tino bet minus 108. There could be a decent chance of a draw. Obviously, the 0-0 is a possibility with the goal line as it's set. And Leganes have drawn their last 2 games. They're starting to get maybe a little bit of momentum. I watched them in their last home game against Bilbao, and I was on Athletic Club that night, and I profited. But Leganes hit the woodwork about 3 times. So a bit unlucky. If the luck comes their way tonight, then I think they can maybe edge the game against Valencia. Valencia, well, they used to be a really big club, RJ, growing up. I mean, I remember in the Champions League final. But these days, they're all over the place, and they're difficult to trust. I don't know if you got any Valencia thoughts.
Oh yeah, I mean, they've been dreadful on the road, right? 2+ goals in 3 out of their 4 road matches so far. And like you say, as Leganes it's only a matter of time before they start converting their chances. They're due. They haven't had a win since August 25th. And what better time than to try to take advantage of this terrible Valencia side who just does not travel well at all. So today would be the day to back Leganes for sure.
Yeah, I like them. Leganes, Tino bet at minus 108. That would probably be my best, possibly one of my better bets of the day. I've got one in the Marseille game I'm going to talk about soon. But just going through the comments here, yeah, back to the Sunderland chat there with Harry Doherty. And this is a big game. Sunderland against Leeds, my own club, Leeds United. Sunderland are going very well in the Championship this season. I think they were top of the table. They still are top of the table by 1 point. They've won 6 out of 8 games. And I think it's going to be a very tight game. And I don't fancy Leeds to win this. Sometimes I'm a bit over negative over my own side. I think sometimes that can happen when we talk about our own sports teams. But I think there's a good chance of a draw. The 2 meetings last season ended 1-0 to Sunderland and 0-0. So I was actually drawn to the under 2.25 goal line at -107 because I think it might be quite a stop-start game, a match that no one wants to lose. Probably a few fouls, free kicks, things like that. Players getting stuck in. Lack of rhythm for both teams. The crowd, I don't actually know what the attendance is set to be, but I think there'll be quite a big crowd in at Sunderland and they'll be getting right behind their teams. Duncan says Sunderland to win at 2-1. What's not to like? That's not a bad bet. I don't think it's a terrible bet, to be honest with you. If anyone's going to win the game, I think it is Sunderland.
I completely.
What do you think?
Yeah, I completely agree. Say, I mean, they've kept a clean sheet in all 4 of their home matches, right? They shut out Burnley 1-0. This isn't bad. I would lean under 2.25 here as well. 100% agree with that. I don't mind. I'm sorry if I'm gonna pronounce your name incorrectly. Nathaniel. I believe that's close. I do like over 1.5 cards in the first half. It looks like over the last 4 matches, they've averaged a little over 2 cards in the first half. So that's not a terrible bet. I'm not sure the price on that, but I do like that. And yeah, Byron, I'm back off the couch in Cape Cod, back to the grind, and it's good to be back. But yeah, today overall, Steve, overall theme unders. I feel like goals will be tough to come by in most of the top leagues today.
Yeah, I do like that under 2.25 actually. Sunderland Leeds, that would be quite a strong lean for me in this game. And I think draw actually. Let's go with a tie. I can't predict my own team to lose. Leeds still have a really strong squad, by the way. Like on paper, Leeds is right up there in terms of quality and ability. But this has not been a good matchup for them. Last season, didn't even score a goal against Sunderland. Sunderland raised their game for Leeds. There's a bit of a geographical rivalry. It's not quite like Sunderland Newcastle or Sunderland Middlesbrough, but 2 northern powerhouses. Who, I mean, both clubs really belong in the Premier League in terms of fan base and stature. But it is what it is. Dan says Leeds are due a statement win. Possibly, Dan. Just looking at some of the comments. Nisha says taking Sunderland to win or draw. Fantasy
a lot of
bet,
Sunderland
win.
backing.
Can't blame them. I can't blame Sunderland backers here. I think they are the most likely side to get the 3 points. Marseille against Angers, another of my sides. It's a day for my teams. If there was an NFL match on tonight, the Ravens would be playing. RJ.
Sure.
Marseille against Angers. I mean, this should be a blowout, really. Marseille -480 on the money line. Get Angers as big as 12-1 with Bet Rivers here. Over under goal line is actually around the 3 mark for the Asian line, and that's. You said you quite like the unders today. Is this one of them? Do you like the under here, RJ, or would you be more over if it was on the 3 goal line? What do you think?
If it was on the 3, Steve, I just have a hard time seeing 4 goals in this match. So I would lean under. I don't mind a push, generally speaking, but I have to see really a strong belief for 4+ here. And I think Marseille coming off that 1-0 loss against Strasbourg. I was actually on the over of that match. I was very.
They were awful. Marseille last week,
right?
Awful.
There's got to be a sense of urgency for them, right? Friday evening, back at home against a vulnerable. How do you say it? Angers side. I'd be nervous if I were Angers with Marseille really looking to get back on track. So I'd be backing Marseille in any fashion for maybe even over 1 first half goal and then maybe full total. But I just have a hard time seeing 4+ here.
I think the danger for underbackers in this game is if Angers put up a stinker of a performance. They are a bad team. They are newly promoted. They're not that good. They have scored in their last 4 games, though, I think, or at least the last 3. They got the lowest expected goals in the league, though. So maybe they're just clinical with their
they get lucky.
Chance conversion.
Yeah.
That's again, a bit like the Como game. The big question here is, can Angers score? Both teams score yeses at plus 105. And I've been debating that bet all day in my mind. I'm like, will they get? They'll get some chances. Marseille always give you a chance on the break. Can they take it though? That's the question. And I mean, I like the over 3 actually. That would be my bet for the game.
You do.
I think Marseille can cover it on their own. There's a chance Angers might score. There's an interesting corner angle I've got. Marseille averaged just 2 corners this season per game. 2. That's not many. Now, there's no use. Stats are no use without a good reason, I always say.
Sure.
So you look into the tactics of the system, and it's because they cut inside all the time. They're not looking to go to the byline and cross. They're coming inside, and the fullbacks are not really getting that involved offensively, and they're coming in field as well. So Marseille have a really low corner count. I mean, they could rack up a few here because they're the dominant favourite, but Angers plus 330 most corners, plus 2.5 corner handicap. With Bet Rivers, it's the 2-0 start. That's plus 108. That interests me because I don't think it's any. Angers, by the way, average 5 corners per game somehow, possibly because they've been behind quite a lot, and that might happen here, and they might rack up a few cheap corners. You know, the danger is if Marseille pepper the goal and this goalkeeper's making saves to push it behind. But Marseille 2 corners per game average. That is unbelievably low. I can't believe it actually.
Yeah, and it looks like on Angers 5.5 corners so far for the season 4, right? Corners 4 for them. So plus 2, Steve. You know, not a bad look. It like you say though, Marseille coming off that loss, you know, a little extra motivation does that.
They'll be fine.
Does that increase the corner count for them? Right, very well could.
Yeah, Mandeep seems likes the handicap on Marseille minus 1.75. Hard to disagree with that. I think Marseille, the logical outcome here probably is 3-0 or 4-0. If we're being honest, if Angers get it on the scoreboard, it's probably 3-1 or 4-1. It's along those sort of lines. That's how I see the game going. I don't see it being a tight 1-0. The Zerbi sides are not historically 1-0 merchants. It's just the way that it is. Bundesliga game. Someone was asking a question about this game at Augsburg against Borussia Mönchengladbach. And, you know, before you look at stats and form and things, your initial feeling is, oh, there should be goals here. The problem is the goal line's high. It's at 3.25, knocking on the door of 3.5, actually, with the actual goal line. So I can't really get involved. I'm not going to bet this game. I think the books have priced it up perfectly. Bet Rivers have nailed this. And sometimes you just got to say no, really, even though I think it probably should be some goals in it. I don't really trust either team, especially Augsburg. Borussia Mönchengladbach are a bit more controlled this year.
Yep.
And they've had a few more unders this year, actually. So I think they've tried to bring that into their game. Not going to get involved in this one. I mean, is this one of those that you maybe looked at the underlying, RJ? It's just quite a high goal line.
I think it's a high goal line, Steve. I think it's the bookies. You know, when you look at a price like this, they're like, well, do they know something I don't know here? Right? Looking at the recent form, recent stats, Friday night fixture, both sides looking to kind of get some momentum and gain some points. Does this seem like a trap? To me, it does. I would lean under here as well. Mönchengladbach, I just can't quite get a good read on them yet so far this season. Augsburg, I think any game that you're involved with them, you'd expect goals. But how does the contribution come from the away side here? And I'm not sure. I don't know. So for that reason, I'd stay away, but lean under 3.5.
Nathaniel, we need to know how to pronounce that surname as well. Two-all type of game, he says, or she says. Yeah, I mean, like on the face of it, that's what I was thinking, just on knowing the teams and how they've played the last sort of year or so. Byron says he's grabbed over 3. Yeah, that would be a far better line to be on, because I think this is one of those fixtures which could have exactly 3 goals. It's just one of those at the end of the night where you could see a 2-1 in either direction, couldn't you?
You
perhaps.
could, yeah. And there's some injuries. Samuel Asende, the forward for Augsburg, is out with a red card, right? So there's personnel concerns on both of these teams. Now, I don't necessarily put weight on that, right? Next man up mentality, but there are some. If this was 2.75, it'd be more reasonable. 3.5 is too high, in my opinion.
Yeah, like you said, this might be the old Star Wars game here. It's a trap.
It's a trap. Yeah.
Nish says he's doubled off Bundesliga 1. He's going Karlsruhe against Paderborn in Bundesliga 2. Both those sides used to be Bundesliga teams that were at certain stages. I remember betting on them in the top league. I've not really looked at Bundesliga too much these days, but when are Hamburg finally going to come back up to Bundesliga 1? That needs to happen. Such a big club, a massive fallen giant down there. I always kind of hope that I would love to see him back in Bundesliga 1. They've got a fantastic fan base. Okay, well, we're done for the soccer for today. Put in the comments if you bet on anything else, anywhere actually around the world. Do let us know. We're on to an NFL section for the weekend. Now, I do know that you've been betting a lot more on NFL this season, RJ. We've got a few teams with bye weeks, so we've not got a full slate this weekend. Pick of, all the games there. Where do you want to start this weekend, RJ? Which teams do you want to get us up and running with? Have you got a match that you quite like? I
do, yeah. So I've started to get heavily involved with the NFL this year, right? Same type of approach that I start with for soccer, right? I try to leverage the NFL. So one of the matches that stands out to me, and let me be transparent, I was on the Bucks +2 last night. That was a pretty tough loss to take, right? They pretty much contained the lead the whole match, the whole game. They had the pick with about 1 minute and 33 seconds left. Levante David had the pick, right? Couple timeouts left for Atlanta. Really, they just had to get a first down and run the clock out. And somehow Atlanta got the ball back because Tampa fumbled, and then that led to overtime. But Steve, yeah, NFL has been pretty profitable so far for me. I post on a Telegram page tomorrow, Sunday. Simply the match that stands out to me is Buffalo Bills money line. All right. I got it at, I think, 116 the other night. And that is my favorite play by all means of the entire weekend. Right. They averaged 30.5 points per match, for 20 points against. Houston Texans have been, they're 2-1, but they're only averaging, 19 points per game. And they're allowing around 27, 28 points per match. So Buffalo is I apologize. I was looking at the wrong statistics. Houston, they don't score a ton of points, right? And I think you're going to have a hard time competing with Josh Allen. Buffalo's coming off a pretty dreadful loss against your Ravens, right? That was embarrassing.
You're looking for the rebound here. I'm guessing what you're looking for is, before you continue, I've got some stats for you from the Bet Rivers traders here.
Yeah.
70% of the money is actually on the Texans, which is interesting. And 70% of the tickets are on the Texans and 60% of the money. Now, that doesn't mean that the Texans are going to win, of course. It kind of shows there might be a public play because the Bills, looked bad on national TV last week and that. But you like this rebound on the Buffalo Bills. Is that the bet then? The best bet for NFL? The money line? Are we looking handicaps here?
Money line, yeah. Money line, at least when I just looked recently, it was around -116, -120. I'll take that all day. I expect Buffalo to bounce back, Steve. Could be a high-scoring game. I do like a couple other plays that I'll mention. I like the Arizona Cardinals +7.5 against the 49ers. I think that's a bit of a trap, just like the Broncos against Tampa Bay a couple weeks ago. I think it was week 2. The entire world's right. I think 80-90% of the money was on the Bucks, but Denver came through and ran. And I think that's a similar type scenario. I also agree with the comment about under in the matches in London, right? Jets versus Vikings on Sunday morning, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. I think you could see under here. I actually, from my statistics, it's actually leaning over, but it's not factoring in where this is taking place. And I would agree there's a lot of rain in the forecast, so that's something to be cognizant of. And then Steve, following up on Monday night, I like I like the Saints +6. I like the over a lot. I think Buffalo Bills money line would be my number one pick, and then Saints Chiefs over 43 would be my second top pick on
Saints
on Monday Night
I'm just
Football.
getting some data here. Saints against the Chief, and 70% of the tickets are on the over. That's not a surprise here for this particular game. And just going back to, I'm just looking at some. You interestingly then mentioned this 49ers fixture, right?
I did.
And you what was it? You actually like the Cardinals on the handicap.
I like the Cardinals +7.5. Yeah.
I mean, that's a big number. 7.5 is a big figure in NFL because of the points.
Very big.
You get up there. So you're getting a whole touchdown and extra point on your favor. I mean, that's a divisional game as well. It's the biggest. The 49ers, they're still pretty banged up, right? Because, I mean, they seem to have injuries all the time. Your Patriots pushed them close for a little bit last week.
Yeah, that's being nice, Steve. The Patriots look terrible. They got their own issues. There's controversy of when do you bring Drake May in, right? Our number first round pick. My thoughts is don't put the potential franchise quarterback subject to that terrible offensive line. Can't expect too much of a difference, but I think pointing back to the Arizona match, Steve, I think there's good potential for Arizona to cover this. The 49ers look good against the Patriots last week, but against the Rams and the Vikings, they struggled. And Arizona, let's not forget, outside of the loss against Washington, they played pretty close against a Detroit side, right? They beat the Rams 41-10. They have potential. It's just, will they keep this close? And I think they will.
88% of the tickets are on the San Francisco 49ers. 86% of the money is on the 49ers. They are the ultimate public play this weekend. So that could be a sting, like you said. And the Jets game, with a bit of talk about the weather here in this London fixture. The money's for the over, though. 68% of the money's on the over. And I mean, that's not a surprise because over's just more popular in general with the bettors in every sport, right? No one likes to bet on an under.
True.
Unless you're Nigel Seeley.
Unless you have that thick skin like Nigel.
There was a comment on the show yesterday. I can't remember who said it. It was something about if you're an under better, then I can't remember. It was like you're some sort of sick something or whatever. It was an interesting comment. Steve Gregory says he's on Bucky Irving over 43.5, and he got a half yard on the last run to cash it. Everyone loves cashing by like half a yard or whatever. You just go over the line. The line stays the same then as well. So I was on an over last night in the Conference League, Circle Brews. Yeah, the line was 2.75. They won 6-2. So what's going to happen now is the line for their next game will be like 3.5, and they become unbackable. You just want it to go over enough for you to cash, and that'll do. You don't want it to go stupid over because then
that
the alert is on. Yeah, of course it is. Raymond Reddington, late for my bet today. Marseille to score both halves, -132. That looks a good one. Quite like that.
I can back that.
Byron Mirrell loves betting unders as well. Come on. To be fair, I've got more into unders in the last 2 or 3 years. It's the influence of certain people. You've got to have a strong stomach for it sometimes. But, the value's there. It's a good bet there, says Nish. Yeah, I would totally agree with that. Before we go, I say my best 2 bets today would be Leganes on the Tino bet in La Liga against Valencia. And I think it would probably have to be, ironically, an under that leads under. Sunderland leads under 2.25 goals. What would be your best bet? The Bills, you say, on the money line is your best bet for the weekend NFL.
Yeah, Bills money line is the best bet today for on the pitch. Leganes, Valencia under 2.25. I think was a reasonable price, so I would lean that. But yeah, Bills money line, and then the over in the Saints Chiefs on Monday night would be my favorite 2 picks. Now, Steve, quickly on the games in London. Have you been to an NFL game out there yet?
No, I keep meaning to go to one. The one I would go to is probably when they got one at the Spurs Stadium. They say that's the best stadium in the country now. I don't really fancy going to a Spurs game overly, so it would be an NFL game, I think. I keep meaning to go to one of them. The Ravens have been over, not that often though. I think the Ravens were the last team that came over here for a match, I do believe. I mean, they would never give up a home game for London. So they'd have to be the away team always. Certain teams will give up the home game more. Nish says that the Yanis match is a good bet. Well, hopefully it's going to be a winner, Nish. It's a good bet if it wins, right? Shakespeare is here. The Detroit Tigers to win their series over the Cleveland Indians, plus 105. Betting the series also less risky than betting on individual games. And the playoffs, of course, are underway in the MLB. There's a lot of betting action on them. And Shakespeare's come with his daily play here for the series. So thanks very much for that. Appreciate everyone's been in live this week on the comments or watching on demand. The newsletter, do please subscribe to the newsletter. There's a link on the description below on the YouTube video if you've not already. That newsletter, don't worry, it will be heading out sooner rather than later. I know you feature prominently on the first newsletter, RJ. There's rumors for that.
Okay.
There's all sorts of rumors with the newsletter. I don't know actually. I don't know that, but we're all waiting for it. So get subscribed up and hit that like button if you're not already. And anyone new who did join today, we really would appreciate a subscription on YouTube as well. Both the Premier League show and the European show are out on YouTube. Give that a watch with myself and James Easton, Jack and Nigel and Dan Roebuck, of course, on both shows. Two very good shows this week. But otherwise, all I've got to say is have a great weekend, everyone. Cash and winning tickets tonight and over Saturday and Sunday. And we'll see you on Monday. We've got some tennis content on Betting Weekly Live next week. Sean Carver will be making a live appearance. Rory Giwani's going to be on. And then towards the end of the week, we're heading towards international soccer. So, take care, everyone. Stay safe. And remember to gamble responsibly. RJ, it was great to have you.
Great to be back, Steve. Great to chop it up all around the world with different sports. And best of luck to everyone. Appreciate the support. Like I guess Steve said, make sure you guys subscribe. And great luck this weekend. Talk soon.
Take care. See you all on Monday. Take care.